Hello everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar, The Promise of Intelligent Automation, Why a Holistic Integrated Approach is the Future of Work. My name is Elias Abdo and I'm joined by Janine Douglas, both from Kofax, and we'll be your moderators for today's webinar. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. We really want to make this webcast exciting and valuable for everyone. So, at the bottom of your audience console are multiple applications you can use. If you have any questions during the webcast, you can click on the Q&A icon and submit your question. At the end of the presentation, we will have a question and answer session where our sales engineers will be on hand to answer your questions. Additional materials are available in the resource list icon that looks like a green folder. And to request an intelligent automation consultation, use the blue icon with the envelope image. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce today's presenter. Dan Kunzig is Vice President of Global Strategy at Kofax, responsible for artificial intelligence, cloud strategy, and customer experience. He began his career as a software engineer, focused on decision and policy automation at a company that was later acquired by Oracle. He spent several years in technology consulting, guiding and implementing transformational initiatives, leading to multiple award-winning projects. Prior to joining Kofax, Dan was awarded the Oracle 2018 Public Sector Leadership Award for his leadership in strategy and strategic programs. He was highlighted in Forbes earlier this year for his AI work with the White House around matching late-stage cancer patients with the best clinical trials options. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dan. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Elias, and thanks everyone for joining today's session. I'd like to get started today by sharing with you a couple of macro trends we're seeing impact every industry globally. The first trend is the accelerator of change, and there's been a lot written about this over the past 15 years, but I think one of the earliest authors was Ray Kurzweil, a famous futurist, scientist, and inventor. And in Ray's book, The Singular is Near, I thought he did a great job of, in a single infographic, much like the one you have on your screen right now, depicting that technology and innovation has really moved at a relatively flat pace for the last couple hundred years. But with the advent of the computer and the internet, we're going to see an inflection point where technology and business will going to start moving at a faster and faster rate due to the number of people having access to the internet and information. Now, I think grasping accelerator of change can be challenging. Let me give you a couple of examples that I think demonstrate this well, at least to me. The Apollo guidance chip, which played an integral role in our moon landing, had a processing speed of about 2.048 megahertz. To put that into context, that's the same processing power of the birthday and holiday cards we give to our children that sing songs and cost about $1 or $2. The first iPhone was more powerful than the first generation supercomputers that cost millions of dollars and more advanced than early nuclear weapons. Now, it's not just that technology is getting cheaper and moving at a faster rate. The rate of adoption is also accelerating drastically too. For example, it took 75 years to get 50 million telephones into 50 million households, but only 13 years for that many TVs, only 2 years for Facebook, and shockingly 19 days for Pokemon Go. And what this means is a couple different things. What worked for organizations yesterday, today, won't work sometime in the future. Every industry will be disrupted. New technologies will provide new opportunities, and more established organizations will begin prioritizing innovation more and more. The second macro trend we're seeing, especially for more established companies, is around how organizations have and really still are in many ways achieving digital success, where companies have many times organized around their channels and adopted point solutions to reduce risk and the overall time to value, but without fully understanding the long-term impacts of those decisions and the silos they've created. Now, employees at all levels are realizing that the digital bar has quickly become the digital ceiling, where departmental successes and a lack of a holistic approach to automation has created technical debt that really limits the company from responding quickly to market changes and opportunities.
Now, on the other side of the equation of the accelerated change is the people and employee aspects, where organizations are realizing there is a massive reskilling necessary to remain competitive in this new environment. And as the World Economic Forum points out, we're going to see a fair amount of jobs decline. In fact, they estimate 75 million jobs in just a couple of years by 2022. But at the same time, we'll be creating 133 million new jobs. Now, these figures, and ones from McKinsey that state roughly 50% of work activities can be automated based on current technologies, has led to a fear of automation many times, impacting corporate cultures. And as Gardner points out, that the number one hurdle that leaders are overcoming right now in their automation goals is their ability for their corporate culture to adapt. One of the strategies we are seeing organizations deploy to combat these trends and others is the amplification of the individual. In our personal lives, we almost do this without even thinking about it. We think of an idea, we put it on social media, we connect with thousands of people. And while we're seeing the rise of the social enterprise with tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams, there's still significant controls we put on employees to really reduce risk and respond to the demands of a hyper-specialized market. The fastest growing sector of the technology market that is also leading the charge on amplifying the individual is robotic process automation, commonly referred to as the digital workforce. Now, these aren't robots like Jane from the Jetsons. These are software robots that work on the application tier much like a human would. And they come in two primary forms. The first type is called attended robots. These are robots that work in concert with employees, reducing manual and repetitive tasks. These robots handle what are often called swivel chair activities of copying data from one screen to another, applying rules and logic as if a human were doing that on an application. The second type of robot are called unattended robots, and these bots execute tasks and interact with applications typically independent of human involvement. They can be triggered by events or scheduled for a particular time of the day. Tasks like data collection as part of a broader investigation. That way investigators can go home, come back the next day, and the bots have collected a significant amount of data so that investigators can focus on higher value tasks in the overarching process.
Well, we're seeing every industry adopt robotic process automation. One industry that's really been at the forefront is banking, where this industry has seen a sharp uptick in the cost of compliance over the past decade in areas like customer due diligence and know your customer. These are policies that the banks have to implement to make sure they aren't doing business with bad guys, preventing things like identity theft, money laundering, terrorist financing, to name a few. And the price of noncompliance has been pretty steep. Just to give you an idea, banks have seen upwards of $10 billion in fines since 2013 alone. Now, while Kofax works with some of the largest banks globally, one European bank that we worked with in amplifying their investigators and using RPA and the intelligent automation platform was around data collection for investigators. And they were able to realize benefits across their entire organization. In retail banking, for example, they saw some process go down from 15 minutes to 90 seconds. In corporate banking, from 12 minutes to 70 seconds. And in money laundering, they were able to cut their processing time from 20 minutes down to 2.5 minutes. Now, these are just micro cost-saving examples. But like other organizations, the macro savings, as you can see from this slide, is pretty significant.
There's no shortage of customer success stories demonstrating the terrific return on investment of robotic process automation. But there's a growing realization that RPA needs more. It needs to be integrated with complementary technologies like orchestration, cognitive capture, OCR, AI, among many others, for organizations really to execute on higher value use cases and create new value. The second strategy we are seeing organizations deploy to keep up with the accelerated change is leveraging integrated platforms. And before I unpack this strategy, I'd like to just take a moment to share a personal story with you, where a friend from high school asked me about 10 plus years ago to run my first triathlon race with him. And unlike most people that run these types of races, I spent the month prior doing some travel with other friends and really not preparing. But the day of the race came up and the first leg of the swim, which is a swim, I felt a lot of excitement, and I jumped in the water, made about 200 meters before I realized that my strategy wasn't quite right. And I barely made it out of the water that day, and I finished the other two parts of the race, the bike and the run. But I learned a really valuable lesson at the end of that day, because I really understood that I should have trained, and I should have also looked at this race more holistically in terms of how much energy and how I started the race to make sure I finished the best race possible.
Now, I share this story with you because as I talk to industry leaders about their automation projects, I see a lot of similarities, where many times organizations are super excited about starting their first part of their automation race. They may even see great outcomes in the first 200 meters of the race, but eventually they realize that they need complementary technologies to achieve end-to-end digital transformation and fulfill additional use cases that they hadn't seen in the beginning of that race. And it's not just my point of view that while RPA has terrific benefits, it's not going to be enough. Here is a quote from the Chief Strategy Officer at HFS, a leading RPA analyst firm, which says, "RPA does not provide long-term answers. Integrated automation is how you transform your business." This is really a story that's been told over and over again in different technology markets, where organizations are looking for integrated platforms because they provide a suite of capabilities for solving problems. In fact, 7 of the top 10 largest companies globally are platform companies now. One example of this is the CRM market, a space that I spent several years supporting prior to joining Kofax, has only just recently started to evolve into platform capabilities over the past couple of years. I think it makes sense that integrated intelligent automation will go through a similar maturity model. So in working with our customers and understanding platform trends, Kofax launched the most comprehensive integrated automation platform in the market today with these 5 core capabilities. Number 1, cognitive capture. Kofax is the undisputable market leader, owning upwards of 30% of this market, having the most comprehensive offering for extracting, curating, and unlocking the power of unstructured data. Number 2, process orchestration, from managing and processing data from cognitive capture as well as other data sources, and for orchestrating the human and digital workforce to connect the front, middle, and back office and scale enterprise operation, removing organizational silos. Number 3, robotic process automation, for amplifying the individual, especially for use cases that require web scraping, where many times APIs are not available. Number 4, mobile and engagement, supporting omni-channel experiences and creating more frictionless experiences, where customers can take a picture of a document and use our mobile capture to extract, transform, and compress those images for transmission. And lastly, advanced analytics, so organizations can understand, measure, and better refine their processes and customer experiences. Kofax also enables our customers to pick their own path in adopting this platform. We've made a significant investment in integrating these 5 capabilities, where other vendors typically require customers to have several partnerships, connectors, many times leaving customers managing a lot of the complexity and costs themselves. We've also made a significant investment in artificial intelligence and machine learning. We've taken a 2-part strategy towards AI. The first part of the strategy is that we've recognized the shortage of AI and machine learning skills in the marketplace. Just to quantify that, according to Baidu, there's somewhere between 300 and 400,000 AI specialists globally. To put that in context, there's roughly 20 to 30 million developers. In recognizing this shortage, we've made an investment over the past 15 years to really embed AI into our platform with capabilities like document classification, facial recognition, and unstructured data content extraction. Our goal here is to make sure that these AI capabilities are more fit for purpose for our customers and reduce the AI skills burden on the organization, associated risk, and time to value. The second part of our AI strategy is building our AI capabilities through the ecosystem of technology alliances. We've seen over the years that the success and failure of platforms is directly proportional to the ecosystem created by software vendors with their customers and partners. And we have a big ecosystem with over 25,000 customers globally, 800 partners in 85 countries. So we really want to create this ecosystem of intelligent automation together. We've made a significant investment around artificial intelligence partnerships as well, with partnerships with Google Vision, for example, and Cognigy around conversation UX, as well as Microsoft and many others that we're going to accelerate in 2020.
So I've been asked a couple of times, where does intelligent automation fit in the enterprise moving forward? I think the most simplistic way I've seen intelligent automation depicted is sitting between the systems of engagement and the systems of record, aiding organizations in removing silos and creating end-to-end digital experiences for their customers, adding intelligence where organizations historically may have had manual processes. Let's take a look at a demonstration of how intelligent automation can allow organizations to create new experiences. In this example, we're actually creating a new onboarding experience for loan applications.
Customer onboarding starts, well, with the customer, of course. Let's meet Mike and Sarah. They are buying a home and want to borrow some money. So, what do they do first? Search the internet, right? For Mike and Sarah, this is the start of their journey. For the bank, the goal is to accelerate this journey and provide a great experience. Bankrite is easy to find and can claim best rates because they can do real-time competitive rate checks and instantly customize the offer. Looks good, so they decide to continue. They supply the requested documentation, such as identification, proof of address, and validation of income, just by hovering over the documents with their phone. No paper, no faxing, no email, fast and easy. And then, quickly confirm the information. So what's next? Mike and Sarah's eligibility and qualification need to be verified. With an army of digital workers that span in performing simple rules-based tasks to running advanced machine learning models, the bank can almost instantly perform many checks that would otherwise take days or weeks. Wait, there's something unusual about Mike. He is a foreign citizen, so a loan officer needs to review the case. Ah, one of our helpful digital workers has already let Mike know, thanks to the digital workforce. Many loans can be automatically approved through a fully digital process. But in this case, the expertise of a loan officer is needed to decide the next steps. Peter decides the next necessary step is to ask Mike to sign a letter declaring he has no outstanding credit issues in another country. Peter just has to make the choice, and a letter is generated. It's automatically customized and personalized to Mike, based on Bankrite letter templates. The loan officer can also further customize the cover message or letter within secure Bankrite standards. It's only been about 3 minutes since Mike applied, and he's pleasantly surprised to already see another message. He needs to review the letter and sign. He signs on his device, and in a few seconds, he's all set, and thinking, great, I bet I got that done faster than anyone else wanting that house. The application, along with the digitally signed letter, is now back in the loan officer's work stack. Everything about this loan is now in order, and he quickly approves the loan. Bankrite can now issue formal loan agreements. The onboarding process has moved quickly and integrates seamlessly into the bank's existing loan origination system, updates other systems, and integrates with third-party AI software. This is enabled by the digital workforce, which operates quickly and reliably without a mistake. Immediately after Peter approves the loan, Mike and Sarah get the good news and can celebrate. Integrating Kofax intelligent automation has made this process fast and easy, keeping Mike and Sarah engaged at every step. They are happy customers. As they continue their relationship with the bank, they'll take many other journeys, borrowing more, taking out insurance, investing in retirement products.
In moving toward an integrated platform offering, our goal is to really enable our customers to solve more problems today and tomorrow in their business with the same set of skill sets. We've also made an investment in building solutions on our platform like invoice processing, accounts payable automation that allow customers to reduce their time to value and extend these offerings within the same platform tools. We are continuing to build out more and more solution offerings, and with our large platform ecosystem of over 800 partners, 85 countries, that are helping us to accelerate these offerings for our customers.
We've also launched a number of initiatives that aim to reduce our customers' time to value and create an ecosystem of innovation. Initiatives like the Smart Hub, where customers and partners can go for things like connectors, starter packs, and reusable assets that reduce the cost and risk of implementations. We've continued to invest in our Alliance program as well, so our customers can use our products and also an ecosystem of products to innovate more easily. We can't talk about keeping up with the accelerated change without mentioning cloud. Now, historically, many organizations have moved to the cloud for the initial cost savings, but more and more, we're seeing that leaders are adopting cloud for two reasons. One is innovation, and two, as a strategy for faster adoption of software. Cloud offerings also provide a pricing model for innovation, where organizations can adopt a technology at a relatively low price point, but then the cost goes up based on the value that software provides over time. But just as we continue to see the adoption of cloud move at a record pace, there's a growing trend that history may very well repeat itself again, where the internet is being redesigned, for example, around this idea of giving consumers more control over their data through a distributed architecture called Web 3.0. Now, while this version may not become the new standard, if there's nothing else you take away from this session, is that we should expect change. Many analysts are highlighting that organizations adopting what they're calling true cloud offerings that don't provide flexible deployment options may very well be repeating the lock-in issues that we saw during the mainframe days. At Kofax, to help customers deal with change, we focused on deployment with choice, where organizations can use on-premise for customers that want to manage their own environments, or private clouds in a bring your own license model, where we've made it easier for customers to deploy by leveraging modern containerization tools like Docker and Kubernetes, as well as true multi-tenant cloud offerings and business process outsourcing through our partners, so customers can get more tailored type of service if needed. Carrier Logistics, a subsidiary of UPS, is a great example of a customer that added organizational capacity and new value. Their automation journey began when, due to rapid growth, invoices became a significant bottleneck to their business. Now, rather than add additional headcount and corresponding cost, they leveraged the Kofax platform to automate over 500,000 invoices a month. They then stood up a center of excellence and began prioritizing automation initiatives based on their value. They have created over 2,000 robots, one of which generates over $15 million annually for the company, which they've characterized as the least paid employee that generates the most revenue. So we've spent the majority of the session outlining more of the technology aspects of keeping up with the accelerated change. But as the World Economic Forum highlighted earlier, it's only half the equation. The bigger challenge that organizational leaders are dealing with is around transforming their culture and skill sets they need to actually make this transition. Which leads me to the last strategy we're seeing organizations deploy in their digital transformation initiatives: automate with purpose. Because purpose is a tool that has been proven to combat fear associated with automation. We know this because of the growing body of work and the fact this isn't the first time we've seen fear of automation. In fact, here in the U.S., the last time was in the early 1960s, when a lot of smart scientists provided a report to Lyndon B. Johnson, the president at the time, which said that due to automation, we were going to see mass unemployment and chaos. Now, fast forward, we know that automation didn't end up reducing the number of jobs available, but instead it created more opportunities. And this is the story we've seen over and over again during these technology paradigm shifts. But with self-driving cars, robots doing backflips, and advanced AIs that are playing games like poker that require bluffing, and Go that most scientists thought required human intuition and not combinatorics. It's probably worth asking, is this time different? And my personal point of view is that in 10 plus years, the answer probably is yes or maybe yes. But in the short term, the answer is similar to the past. Some of the more interesting work I've seen recently is by Aaron Hurst and Yale University around the purpose economy. As Aaron highlights, purpose isn't always this big, grandiose corporate initiative. And while it can be, especially for companies that have a single purpose like saving the ocean from plastic, many times it's something like the people on a single team. Purpose just needs to be more we than I, and isn't typically focused around profits, at least profits alone. In his work, Aaron defines 28 different purpose profiles, and one of the experiments he ran was around asking employees for 3 jobs they never want to do. And when they paired those people with the same profile, purpose profile, they found that employees did a 180 on what they originally said, because those two were connecting at a higher level around purpose, and the work didn't matter as much. Organizations that seek to take a holistic approach to automation really must focus their strategy on both people and technology. Purpose isn't just an internal tool organizations can use to transform their business. Take this South African bank. This is a customer that Kofax worked with on their automation initiatives, where this bank recognized that there were a significant portion of South African population that were unbanked due to their ability to travel to a local bank during normal banking hours, leaving many without financial mobility or inclusion. This bank also recognized that their population of consumers' primary way of accessing the internet was via mobile phone. So they automated with purpose and really created a mobile experience for onboarding with Kofax Mobile and IA platform that allowed consumers to frictionlessly upload their information and create an account. It turned out to be great business. They were able to onboard 50% more customers and provide new customers with financial inclusion and opportunities that wasn't once available. Now, you might be listening to this success story and thinking, that doesn't apply to my geographic market. I'll tell you that I just met with a very large insurance company here in the U.S., have been around for a long time, well established. And when we looked at the data, they had 58 million to 60 million consumers, but the average age was 58. And this spoke to them from a success story perspective because they really wanted to target millennials, people that access the internet and want frictionless onboarding, are used to it in their day-to-day lives. So if you're still not convinced that purpose is a strategy for keeping up with accelerative change, let me conclude by sharing with you a couple of recent statistics about how purpose matters both internally and externally to your business. First, according to Harvard Business Review, 90% of employees would swap a percentage of their lifetime earnings to have more meaningful work. I think one of the best examples I've seen of this thought was with a Swedish customer I recently visited with, where they described their intelligent automation as a tool to provide a happier and healthier environment for their employees, allowing employees to be more innovative with the extra time and give them a better balance between work and their personal lives. Lastly, consumers are more connected than ever before. They don't just want great experience from brands, they also want a relationship. They want to know what the brand stands for. And according to the recent data from Consumer Reports, 79% of consumers said they would be more loyal to purpose brands and more forgiving if those brands made mistakes. Again, I just want to thank everyone for attending today's session. I really hope it was beneficial. I'll just pause here to see if you have any questions. Back to you, Elias.
All right, thank you, Dan. That was very informative. We're now going to begin we're now going to begin answering questions submitted during today's presentation. So as a reminder, you can still submit your questions through the Q&A icon in your attendee control panel at the bottom of your screen. So please do so now if you haven't already. And to request a copy of today's presentation or an intelligent automation consultation, please send us a note through the blue icon with the envelope image. I should also mention that we will be sending a recording of this webinar and a follow-up email within 48 business hours. And now joining us from our sales engineering team are David Luce and William Yee, and they're ready to take your questions. So let's go to the Q&A pod and see what questions we have. Okay, first one coming in here from Benjamin. What's the best way to expose KTA's validation client UI to business applications?
Hey, Elias, this is William. I'll take that.
Okay.
Folks, for those who are not familiar with all the Colfax solutions yet, KTA is Colfax Total Agility. That's really our platform that allows us to expose capabilities such as cognitive document automation, process orchestration, integration with robotics, analytics, and mobility. So KTA, Colfax Total Agility, is one of our acronyms, and that is really one of the on-ramps to allow us to do those capabilities. So specific to Benjamin's question, validation client UI is something that allows knowledge workers to respond to exceptions that they may get from the automation of the document, and typically that's like data validation. So to answer Benjamin's questions, what's the best way to expose KTA's validation client UI to business applications? Well, KTA, Colfax Total Agility, supports both APIs, and also you can, it's a fully web client. You can embed the URLs back into your business application. So depending on whether or not the validation UI you want to expose like a work list of things to do. This could be back office operations. So you want to show a list of validation jobs you want to take, tasks you want to take on. We can expose that list of work, or you can actually push the validation UI as a unit of work to that business application. The good news is, depending on where your business application is, if it's mobile or web, we will leverage HTML5 forms, so we have a strategy to support multiple user interfaces. So hopefully that helps, Benjamin, and certainly we look forward to following up with you if you have more questions about that. Thanks.
Great, thanks, William. Here's another one that came in. So what would be a good use case to start with for intelligent automation?
So Elias, this is David. So I'll take that question. There's lots of good use cases that intelligent automation applies to, and of course, the best use case is the use case that's most applicable to you in your environment. However, as you look around the environment, I think I would say if you're looking to leverage all the capabilities of the intelligent automation platform that we've described, a lot of those use cases that are around either initial customer onboarding, vendor onboarding, supplier onboarding, all those kinds of things where you're initially creating an interaction and a relationship with a third party, those tend to really leverage heavily the whole platform because, especially with customers, there's a very good opportunity to have a very well-developed and comprehensive mobile interface. Can leverage the capabilities that we have of scanning documents, scanning driver's licenses, doing facial recognition, leveraging a lot of the AI capabilities that are built in to do that. It allows for bringing that information into a process in your enterprise. And some of those processes can then be handled, by digital workers through robotic process automation automatically. Customers, vendors, they can be validated, information can be brought together automatically. And in many cases, possibly, approved according to business rules. Other cases being routed through our, process orchestration tools in front of knowledge workers who can then, leverage the information that's brought in front of them to make, ultimately choices about how to proceed with a particular engagement. And of course, in many of those cases, you're creating relationships Those require document signing, secure documents in those kind of fashion. So I would say anything that's leveraging, initial connections with third parties is going to be a really, really interesting place to start your IA journey.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. Similar kind of related question, looks like. So where would be the best place to start on the intelligent automation platform?
So I'll take that too, just really briefly. There is a starter pack for the intelligent automation platform. It does give you access to most of the capabilities of the platform. So again, if you're looking to tackle, one of these kind of use cases that I was referring to, you're starting out with that starter kit is going to, give you some hands-on experience right away, let you evaluate the technology. We do have starter kits for other products, starter packs for RPA. If you're interested in just doing, a piece of that puzzle, great way to get started. I believe it has a 90-day license, so it's really a lot of capability and a lot of time to explore and check out the products.
Yeah, and this is William. If I could just complement that a bit, you get cognitive document automation capabilities to try, so you could do data extraction, OCR, against your business documents. You get robots you can try. Certainly, some of these are developmental side, your lower environments where you can test these things out. But once you start using them, then you can realize the capabilities. You get things such as the ability to create output management and signing packages using our mobility and our document signing capabilities. And one other thing I want to add to that is, if you have a chance, please check out our education site. We have some, starter packages on education, and some of these are free for any customer to take a look at and try and get a better understanding of our core capabilities.
Great, thanks, guys. Another question here coming through. As more applications are web-based, why does your development seem to be on desktop automation instead of the improvements on your browser capability?
Yeah, so this is David Luce again. I'll take the question. That's a really good question, and I certainly understand the perspective that you have, that it seems that way. If you look at the development of Kofax RPA, formerly Kapow, it's a product that's been around for almost 20 years now. And the web capabilities that were built into the product prior to introducing the desktop automation are really very, very well developed, and they handle many, many use cases today. However, the desktop automation, it's a sort of a different paradigm in that desktops are much more transactional. When you press a button, there's not necessarily you can't really go back to a previous state without, executing some more, actions in an application to get you there. Whereas with a, web-based application, that's typically the case. So if you look at what's going on in modern web-based applications, if you get away from, sort of the things that have historically been there, and if you look at things that are being developed today, and in fact, we have a lot of experience with those. If you look like applications that are very customer-centric, things just like Facebook and Twitter and mobile phone websites. Those websites are very dynamic. They're built with a lot of reactive JavaScript, and they also tend to have the same properties of a web application. So what we have done, moving a little bit away from that pure web client, again, the legacy web client in Kofax RPA, is to bring in Chromium Embedded Framework support into the desktop automation experience because it gives you both those capabilities. It's a much more modern browser, so it does handle those very dynamic websites very well, but it also allows you to develop them, with the more transactional capabilities. They have that explicit knowledge in the desktop automation. And of course, you can always go back and forth between the two environments as appropriate. If you have a simpler maybe a vendor portal. You can always do classic web automation against that, and then you can hand pieces of information out of that into maybe the desktop automation using the Chromium embedded framework, and go into a more modern user interface for maybe a ERP, and populate data there. So it is definitely very possible to combine the two of them. But the reason for the focus is, really just the different nature of, the very modern applications, the web applications that are being built today.
Great, thanks. And just a reminder, folks, if you haven't submitted your question, you can still do so as we're taking questions here. I got one more here for you guys. What would it take to move a customer with KTA on-prem to IAP on cloud? And then in parentheses, AWS VPC.
Yeah, so this is William. When we look at that, and a lot of customers are looking at that situation as they adopt cloud more and more, it's a process where we'll take a look at what you currently have on KTA and any customizations. And I think the key things that we're looking for is integration points. So we have many customers who are using KTA, again, that's co-flexible agility, in a private cloud or hybrid cloud. And some of those requirements which may dictate where we go with that is, your integration points to your backend systems, where your data, you would like that to reside, and the application data. So, but we do have many customers have done that, and we'll come in and help scope it out, take a look at what it is, but we are cloud-enabled, cloud-supported for co-flexible agility.
All right, thank you. Well, looks like that's all the questions that have come in. So with that, I want to thank you guys again, Dan, David, and William, and thank everyone for attending today's webinar. So we hope you found the info shared by Dan, the questions answered by David and William of use, so wherever you may be on your automation journey. And as a reminder, if you're interested in an intelligent automation consultation or would like a copy of today's presentation, please submit your request through the blue icon with the envelope image at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get back in touch with you right away. So on behalf of us at Kofax and our speakers, we appreciate you joining us today. We wish you a great rest of your day, and thank you again for joining us.